We live. What is that? Oh, that's my shirt. We live. Hope everybody's doing all right. You know when people tell you they can't, like, days start flying by and there's not enough hours in the day? I'm officially at that point. It feels like I just woke up. You know what I mean? Like, and it's 7:30 now. And it's just not enough hours in the day. It's rough. So I finally bit the bullet and bought this VR headset. I bought a new one because I ain't had one since the PlayStation 4. So I bought this charging now. I bring the box. Hang on. So I just got this Meta Quest. Hang on, let me see if I can make the. I finally bit the bullet. I'm a sucker for technology. So I finally bit the bullet and bought a Meta Quest 3. And it's charging right now. I was trying to set it up, but it's actually it's a bit of a process. So I'm downloading Half-Life Alyx right now on my gaming PC. And yeah, I finally bit the bullet and bought that. Let me close this door. I finally bit the bullet and got it. Let me open this window while I'm up and moving. All right. What's up, Mo? What's up, Xavier? What's up, Elijah? What's up, Grave Rave? Asks Diatom. What up? So I'm really excited for the VR headset because I'm playing iRacing. Because I like sim racing, and I finally. So here's the thing: iRace. If you're in the like video games, if you're in the simulations, if you're in the sim racing, I played all the other sim racers that I could, except iRacing. Because iRacing is by far the most expensive one. And it probably looks the worst out of every simulation racing video game. But it's by far the most popular one. So I end up stumbling on a deal, right? Okay, so if you don't get iRacing on sale, it's gonna be like $150 a year per year just to be able to have access to your account. Then you have to buy, like, every car costs $15, and then every racetrack costs like $10. Now, what doesn't get, the part about iRacing that doesn't get talked about is they actually give you like I don't know, like 20 free cars and 20 free tracks. But it's a lot of cars and tracks. And the thing is, if you don't have that track, then you can't race on that track. So you got to buy the track. There's other ways around. You know, it's not like you just can't play it if you don't have the, you know, the object needed that week kind of thing. But I got it on a deal where if you had to contact the FIA racing group and they said, hey, just donate like $10 to this group and we'll give you a year's worth free of iRacing. So that's how I got into it. I got a year's worth for like $10. So I finally tried it. And I tell you what, I never thought I would say this, but iRacing is by far the best simulation racing game in terms of engagement. I would say that iRacing is like Gran Turismo times 1,000 for what you can do with it. It doesn't look as good as Gran Turismo, but if you're into racing and driving, kills it. Completely kills it. The amount of, because it has monster truck, not monster, it has super trucks, rally racing, all different types. It's amazing. Big fan of it. Games days. I'm always laughing on a cloudy day. it's sunshiny out here. I'll show you. I'll show you my view. It's not sunshine. It's just getting dark. It's like 7:30. It's getting, well, it looks brighter in the it looks brighter in this camera. It's not that bright outside. Like, it's definitely, let me see if I open the window. Maybe it's the window doing that. Right. It's not that bright. That's the camera doing that. But yeah, no, it's not cloudy out here. Yeah. But yeah. I got trains right next to the computer. I have to show you. My son's trains are like right here. He's a train guy. I was never a train guy. I said it last week. I was never a train guy. I was always a car guy. If I were to be one of the two, I was a car guy. I never played with trains. The trains are like, here, I just plugged everything up. Hopefully I don't like disconnect something. But his trains are, well, that's the meat, a packet of meat I'm eating. It's my messy bed with shit on it. Where's his trains right there? And these nuts I'm eating. His trains are right next to this table, right next to my computer. Moving shit around and it's life, man. Shit's fucking wild. Yeah. There's too much shit going on. I'm at that point in life where the days are just flying by. And it's like I just wake up. It feels like 3 hours pass and it's fucking 6 p.m. And I usually wake up like around, depends, the situation. But anywhere between 8 and 10. I usually don't get up as get moving to like 8 or 10. And then this morning, it finally hit my child's mother that she looks at, she's standing in the doorway and she looks at me like kind of sad and depressed, right? And she goes, Wendell, whenever you want to change his diaper, he just gets right up and, and does it. Or if you want to dress him, he just gets right up and just does it. And when I do it, I have to chase him around for like 20 minutes. You already know. Mommy lets him get away with shit. Daddy don't care. When I have to change his diaper, when I change his diaper, I think maybe once or twice he got me confused with his mother and tried to like run away and start playing. You know what I mean? Maybe I think it made twice at max. I can remember one time, but I don't remember how long ago it's been since that one time. I can remember one time. So I'm gonna say he's done it another time. I'm just not thinking about it right now. But sometimes he can tell just how by the way I'm walking. He'll just see how I'm walking. He already know. Oh, yep, you're gonna get my diaper changed, fam. I know what it is. He gonna grab his toys and come lay down on the bed. He knows what it is, right? And if he doesn't do it like that, I just grab a diaper. I say, baby, come on, and shake the diaper, and he come over and lay down on the bed. Well, when mommy does it, it's time to play. Time to run around. Time to start doing backflips off of kitchen counters and shit. Drunk phase in the building. What's up, Puck Plays? Bitches got me fucked up. Damn, phase line. Sorry to hear that. What's up, man? And Tara Moody? I'm good, man. How are you, man? How'd you get a trophy emoji? I didn't even know that was a thing. Probably die soon, female nature, too heavy to carry. Oh, man, what's going on? You sound like you over there going through it. Sound like you over there going through it, man. See, well, here's the thing. You never really know how people take, you know, take you know, the situation of women, man. Because like I've said it before, like, believe it or not, man, like you would think guys who worked in brothels, like as managers and you know all that, you would think that they would be like so far ahead of the game, and when in reality, every guy that I knew who worked in there ended up becoming like the biggest fucking simp, like outside of there, every time. Every guy I knew that I can think of, they worked in brothels, right? And they see just how fast women can move on and this and that, and move from one guy to the next. And every time, these guys ended up being the biggest pathetic simps. It's like you would think that you would think they would have, you know, a head start in dumb bitchinese, but they don't. It's like it's almost like it's like some guys just are some guys never get over the longing. Here's every guy's biggest problem with women. If they got problems with women, you know, to where their emotions get hurt and all that. Every guy's who fits this situation, who fits this demographic, biggest problem is you're trying to make a woman fit some image in your head that doesn't exist in real life, at least at the time. And very rarely will it exist when you want it at the time. Life just doesn't work like that. It's a situation of the more you gonna want something, the less it's gonna happen. Especially when it comes to getting a woman. Any pimp, any real, I'm not a pimp. I just hung around a lot of whores, but I'm not a pimp. But let's go listen to any real pimp. And they will tell you, whether it's in movies or if it's real motherfuckers or whatever, that when that philosophy stands of being a pimp and having worldly options with women, they will all tell you the same thing. Go after the one you don't like. If you see a group of women standing in a bar and that one is just like your type, physically, all that, right? You will be much better off. You will be much better off approaching one of her friends that ain't your type for real, that you don't really care about, instead of going and approaching that one that is your type, and then you fuck around, and you know, for whatever reason, it doesn't work out, right? You're always better off ignoring the one you want for real. It's fucked up, but it's how it is. You're better off dealing with a woman, talk to a woman that you're not attracted to. Because there's one dude, I'm thinking of him right now. He was saying how he said, get the one that you don't want, because the one you want, you won't let her get away with everything. Marry the woman that you don't like, because you ain't gonna let her get away, because you won't let her get away with anything. You don't even like her anyway. It's fucked up. Okay. That situation of is the same thing like what Ciara did to Russell Wilson. Everybody knows it. I feel sorry for Russ because he has to know it too. I mean, and I'm not even saying that to be mean to him. But he has to know it. What Ciara did to Russell Wilson is the same way men do the same shit to women. Except the only difference is men go after strictly looks alone. It's not that men want nice, it's that they want pretty to be nice. You see what I'm saying? It's not that men really, and the same thing with women. It's not that women. It's not that. It's not so much women just want an asshole. It's women. I'm sorry, it's not that women want nice. It's women. Women want to turn the asshole into being nice. And it'd be the same thing. Like once you get it, and then give it time, you'd be tired of it. Just like with a typical woman who goes out there and turns Future into Russell Wilson, because it happens. And not long after that, once Future turns into Russell Wilson, now he's a Russell Wilson, and now she don't like him no more. And now Russell Wilson gonna sit around chasing her around everywhere because now he's wondering what happened. And it'd be the same thing with most men and most women. It's like once if you go after the woman you like, you really really like. Because it happened to me when I remember I was in high school and it was over this girl named Amber. I still remember. She's fucked up looking now, but her face still looks good, but she got fat. I was in love with this girl named Amber. Her name was Amber. She was one of them. Amber was one of those. Here's the thing. Amber was one of those. Was one of those girls who was like her skin was white, but you knew she was not white. Like she was definitely black, but her skin was white, and she was one of those kind. And she was like perfectly thick and perfect face shape. Even now I still remember what she looked like when I loved her. I was in love with her physically, and I remember, and she knew it. Everybody knew it. And then I remember she was just fucking with me, and she flipped it around and act like she was like really into me, and I immediately was like, ugh, like get away from me, kind of thing. It immediately happened, right? What's up, BTR? I don't know how to Mendiv. I don't even know how to say. What's up, man? JM Ciara only did that because she was aging. Yeah, and wanted and was Future's baby mama. She needed a rich simp to take care of her, and she found it. Yeah. Just like that Jonas Brothers shit with that Priya Chopra or whatever that bitch name. She was aging out, yeah, and had to go get that, that young dumb fool that had a name to keep her, relevant in some kind of way. That's all. That's all it is. Because they never go for men their own age and older who are intelligent, who are known to be intelligent. It's always some dude that they know they can get over with it. It's never the other way. They never going after George Clooney once they end up like aging, fucked up. Not much intelligence going on. Now let's say on the flip, let's say like a woman like Natalie Portman. Like Natalie Portman is an intelligent woman. She, as far as I can put together and see, and I just watched the interview with her a while back. There's something going on in her head for real. Natalie Portman from Star Wars and all that shit. I never thought she was like exceptionally beautiful or anything. I thought she was just a regular kind of cute girl. But for some reason, guys go crazy about her. But regardless, minus all that, I think Natalie Portman is a genuine. There was some intelligence. There is definitely some intelligence in there. And I think she went to like a real school, and she ended up. I think she could speak Hebrew or some shit like that. I think there's now a woman like Natalie Portman. She's not gonna pull. I don't see her pulling a Ciara. She don't got to. She doesn't have to. There's enough intelligence within her already. She doesn't need that. She like that type of person doesn't need to eat off somebody else to stick around, right? Because she didn't get popular from jiggling her butt in music videos. She got popular from being the kind of cute white girl who happened to graduate from university and have legit degrees, and she ended up acting as the kind of cute white girl who wasn't always naked, and you know what I mean, and but she can also act like in V for Vendetta, and she got up. So she's like a Natalie Portman type is not going to do. I really don't see her. I mean, I really don't see her like doing that, going that chump route, because there's already enough intelligence within her to stay, you know, respectable. I don't want to say respectable. There's enough intelligence within her to stay admirable in life. Now it can veer like the wrong, like a terribly wrong way, like for like one of Emma Watson types. You know what I mean, once they go out there and they get the education and they flip, and now they, strong and all that, strong and independent and all that, and it just ruins them, and there's no hope. I have family members like the Emma Watson types. I don't know if it's Emma Watson specifically, she's like this, but that type, that hey, see, our archetype or whatever, that type, I've seen that many times before. Once they hit that, it's going to be a very lonesome, sad existence for that type. Yeah. But yeah, it's just I was thinking when I woke up this morning, I was just thinking like, wow, like, here's the thing: every week to every month, more than a few things that become very clear, but I'm only going to remember two right now. But there's more than a few things every day and week. Things become more clear. Um, some of it is just my age bracket. People who are like my age bracket, maybe a few years younger, or a few years older. Some things are just my age bracket. I'm not including like 20-year-olds or anything like that in this. But some things do become more clear. One, that route of education. If in my age group, if the person, I'm really noticing major differences in people who got their education and who didn't. Like it's like every week and month it becomes more and more clear. There's severe differences in how people move and act. Not every case, but a lot of cases. Um, from confidence to all these things. Like it becomes clear, more clear, more clear. Maybe not in specific areas, might be in different areas, but the overall situation um, is there. And two, I was thinking the most overvalued. I would honestly say this: the most overvalued thing on the planet is a woman in this day and age, especially in this day and age. In modern times, right now, a woman is by far the most overvalued thing on the planet. And here's the thing, like the women didn't it really isn't the women's fault. It's the men's fault, right? That because well, it's I say it's half and half. I was watching an Instagram reel where and I was just talking about stay off social media, but I was just watching an Instagram reel where it was like 20 years ago, and and even Tyra Banks was roasting, women, saying they was fat, they was chubby. All you don't have the body to look like a model because you need to lose about 7-8 pounds, and they was pulling out weight scales for bitches to stand on and all. Like if the 20-year-olds had seen how people were talking to women 20 years ago, they'd have a heart attack. They lived through that shit. Have an absolute heart attack. Like here's the thing. Like okay, Natalie Portman. I do have a lot. I do admire Natalie Portman. I'm not trying to make fun of her. I do admire her. But Natalie Portman, like Natalie Portman fits that Jessica Chobot, those video game. Like Natalie Portman, Natalie Portman was Jessica Chobot times a million. She got popular at that time and on. Jessica Chobot fell off, but Natalie Portman stayed because she did movies. and Jessica Chobot was just like a TV personality kind of thing. And I say Olivia Munn was like on the back end of that generation of media where from how I remember, this is just how I remember it. I'm not saying this is a fact, but how I remember it was they essentially got popular or like Megan Fox. They got popular from being the all right girl who was in a nerdy spot. You know what I mean? Like, what was that bitch with the Tourette syndrome that I think she's completely lying? Anita Sweet, is that her name? I think that's her name. Anita. And she claims she has Tourette syndrome, so she just says a bunch of sexually charged things, because it's her Tourette's going off, which is complete bullshit. If you ever know anybody who had Tourette syndrome, they would tell you immediately that that's bullshit. Right? And I'm thinking of two girls right now who I knew, and I had to ask these questions. One was a black girl I dated, another one was a white girl who worked across the desk from me when I was working in the writing center at Sinclair Community College. I can't remember her name, but I remember she was very religious and she always wore skirts. She never wore pants. And she had Tourette syndrome. And you always got to ask them, like, is that real? When people curse and say, "Fuck you, I'll rape your family." And every time I say, no, that they're exaggerating that shit. Every time. Like, I don't have a memory of speaking to someone who had Tourette syndrome who said it was real. Every time they said those people were, because when we were kids, there was always like Ricky Lake or Jerry Springer or somebody, I don't know, maybe not Jerry Springer, but Ricky Lake, some show where it would be like Maury Povich before the DNA test just completely took over Maury Povich. They used to have like, people in life situations, and they would always have a segment, man, maybe once every year, once every couple years, where it would be like kids with Tourette syndrome. And those shows put it into people that everybody who had Tourette syndrome will walk around and be like, "Fuck you, I'll rape your mother's sister," and or they'll stand up and like click their heels, or but those are always like the most like either extreme cases or they were just completely lying, right? One of the two. Okay, I'm not saying Anita's, what's her name? Anita, I don't even know her name. But I'm not saying she's completely lying, but I think there's a very low, extremely low chance that she's every single time has to say some borderline racist, sexually charged shit. I highly doubt it. I'm just gonna say I highly doubt it. I'm not gonna say she's completely lying. But yeah, back in the day, those, like, if anybody remembers the Maury Povich show, I remember Maury Povich before if you're older, I'm sure you do too. Maury Povich, that show used to be like Ricky Lake, pretty much like Jerry Springer without the fights kind of thing. It was just like, hey, well, I come from a family and I don't talk to my mom, and then mom comes on, well, how come you don't talk to me? Well, you didn't give me bologna when I wanted a sandwich, and it'd be this kind of shit for like an hour. It was really boring shit. But then when the birth control segments were like the Tourette syndrome segments, and it would be like once a year, but those would always be like the best shows, right? Now the Tourette syndrome segments, of course, as history shows, it's died off. But the DNA test stays. So now the Maury Povich show is literally synonymous with who's the baby's father. It's every episode is just that now, right? And that's just the show, and it still works. I'm not mad at it. It still works. But was it Montel Jordan, Ricky Lake? It was a bunch of those talk shows. If you're older, you definitely know. What's up, Simon Lewis? I had this Christian girl as a girlfriend for some months, where I can't even think of the last. What are your thoughts on women growing up knowing how manipulative women are, but are still easily manipulated by other women? They are quick to believe other women when it comes to claims of sexual abuse without proof. Here's the thing. I'm going to go to the last part first, Javi. And thanks for tuning in, man. For the last part first, they are quick to believe other women when it comes to. Here's the thing. because me and my spouse, we've been talking about sexual abuse a lot lately because I'm addicted to Chris Hansen on YouTube, right? And we just had this talk. I said, and I told her this. I said, I was not a fan of, I still had to watch it, but I wasn't a fan of Chris Hansen doing it when it was like a 15-year-old girl who was like just posing as it was somebody posing as a 15-year-old girl who was just chilling and was trying to fuck, right? That's still too big of a gray area for me because again, I have girl family members, and those girls are running around like crazy at 14, 15, 16, and there was nothing you could do to stop it. So setting up a sting operation like that is a complete waste of goddamn time. If those 14, 15, 16-year-old girls want to go out there and start fucking with 30-year-old men, there is nothing you can do about it unless you're going to lock them up. Okay, so in that situation, now with that being said, I don't advocate guys to go out and fuck 14, 15, 16-year-old women. But what I'm trying to say is, again, I grew up with 14, 15, 16-year-old nieces. Them girl, you can't stop them. If they want it, they're going to go get it. All right? Now, I'm not saying, roll out the red carpet for them for when a 30-year-old man walks in the house or shit like that. But this whole like Chris Hansen and putting them all on the internet and shaming them and putting their names so people can go rob their house because they're on the sexual registry list and all that. That's terrible in this situation. Now, the part about Chris Hansen where I do side with Chris Hansen now, and I will work with him on this, is they started having like grown men and women pose as the parent or step parent to sell the 14, 15, 16-year-old girl. Now I'm like, yeah, now there's no excuse for that. That's fucked up. Now I'm like, yeah, he needs to be fucked up for that. If the parents are agreeing to sell their kid, and then the guy was one I watched where this guy came and they had him on tape in a hotel room, in the hotel lobby. And the guy tried, and the decoy father tried to talk to him, and the guy was like, and just gave him the money and was going to the hotel room to go fuck his daughter, who was supposed to be his daughter, who was like 14, 15. So now that dude, and then when they caught him, he tried this whole rant like, oh, why are you doing this? This is entrapment, blah, blah, blah. And he tried to play this, oh, I didn't do anything. And he just panicked for like 30 minutes straight. And like, that's like, I had no idea guys would go that low. At that point, yeah, he needs to be fucked up. There's no excuse for that. Now, back to the original situation. There's a comment. Me and my spouse, we talked about these scenarios. And she said, yeah, she said the same thing I said. She said, yeah, when a girl is 14, 15, when a girl or a boy is 14, 15, they know. They know what they're looking for at that point. Right? They know. Now, in the world, because see, especially in Western countries, when you talk about sexual abuse and these kind of things, it's the situation of if you don't immediately agree to cut somebody's head off, then you must immediately advocate everything they do 100%. Because there's too many people that are not intelligent enough to sit down and think things through themselves. They come up with their own opinion. Their life, the backbone of their life is so built up by what other people think of them that they'll just say anything to fit in with the rest of the crowd. Anything. They don't care. I would say at least 60 to 70% of the population is going to be like that. And of that, at minimum, 80%, at minimum of that 60%, 70%, 80% of that would be women. So when it comes to these things like sexual abuse and all that, if you were to get every woman individually in a room and talk about something and break something down, most women would come to the conclusion like, yeah, we don't know, blah, 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 this and that. But if you put it out like on Facebook or like Instagram or something, and if you get to questioning it, well, like now we have an uptick of people having courage to not just automatically agree. pretty much after Amber Heard. Amber Heard single-handedly opened that can of worms. Before the time of Amber Heard, oh, there was no questioning the woman. You just automatically believed her, and if you didn't believe her, then you must hate all women. And you must agree with rapists, and you hate all women. And Johnny Depp is a terrible rapist. Before that court case came out, and all that information came out. See, Amber Heard will literally go down in history as the initiator of showing that women can be pieces of shit too. Not just men. Women can, but like anything, it's going to be a slow, it's going to be a slow path to open it up completely. But Amber Heard single-handedly did that. Her name is synonymous with being a piece of shit now. It just is. She's going to have to change her name. Well, she can't, because people just know who she is. Amber Heard single-handedly opened that shit up. Because there's no excuse. Because she's a pretty white woman. So that at that point, based off Westerners' mentality, you might as well have God literally come to earth and be like, yeah, I be fucking up sometimes. Like, you'd be like, oh, like there is nothing else on earth that can overtake that level of fuck up. Like, you are now the figurehead for fuck up. Right? Now, let's say Amber Heard had not happened, and then Cassie had come out and done all this shit. Motherfuckers would still be like, oh, well, she, I don't know. But anyway, women don't do that. But now Amber Heard came out. See, Amber Heard, I say the only other girl who could probably top Amber Heard for being the figurehead of perfection and fucking up. What's that bitch name with the big tits and she's white and she's blonde? I keep wanting to say Sigourney Weaver, but that's not her name. She's real pop. The only reason I know her because she was on Saturday Night Live, because I haven't seen anything she's in. What's this? She's blonde with big tits, and I got her face in my head. I'm trying to make me smaller so I can show it on Google. I can't think of her name. Was it? Shit. I can't think of her name. Can you still see me? Yeah, you can still see me. I gotta go to images. Yeah, see, all these women that got old, they don't count no more. And look, I don't mean to bash them, because I'm actually a fan of a lot of these women on here. But it is what it is. These white women that got old, they done lost that power now. They still up there a little bit, but they done fell off. I'm thinking of the one with the big tits. This one, Sydney Sweeney. That's her. That's the one. That's the one. Now Sydney Sweeney comes out. And come to find out, she just said some man raped her, and they had him on camera, and she was, grabbing him and all that. That would be a huge blow to white goddess territory. And the women, after all that. But it's Sydney, that's her name. That's her. That's the one I was thinking of. Because all these other ones, they done got too old. They done fell off. They still look cute, but they done fell off. Their time is up. I like a lot. I'm a fan of a lot of these women on here in reality, but how the world's going to see them is over. I love Jodie Foster. I think she's great. I'll watch anything with her in it. Hotel Artemis. I think Hotel Artemis should have been one of those movies. Hotel Artemis should be one of those movies that, like Ocean's 11 or some shit like that. Like, every year there's a new group of like injured criminals that come to see her. She's the doctor of Hotel Artemis, and there's some drama that goes on. And every movie is like a different cast except for her and that Dave Bautista dude that played in the Guardians of the Galaxy. He played like the bodyguard. I think he played Mount Everest or something like that in the movie. But I love Jodie Foster. I'm a big fan of Jodie Foster. I think she's I think she's an excellent actor. I think she's a top-notch actress. But in that world of of women not never being wrong is she could be wrong now, bro. Yeah, yeah, you guys, yeah, Sydney Sweeney, yeah. But okay, I only answered the last part. Let me go back. So, in my opinion, women are quick to believe. Women, they don't really believe it. They just want to just side with a group that has some steam. And see, women will just side with something because their feelings are really hurt about something else. So they just want to feel good and they'll just say that they agree with lunch at 3 p.m. because they know Dan wants lunch at 1 p.m. But Dan didn't talk to her, and now she's mad because Dan actually liked her friend Lauren. So now she'll go for lunch at 3 p.m. and she really actually wants lunch at 1 p.m. too, but she wants to hurt. See, these are things that women do, right? But if you get them all alone, see, women they'll talk a lot of shit like on the internet and hearing on cameras, but when you get them alone and get to talking to them for real directly and ask them direct questions, usually they either have to run away or they're going to get mad with no real explanation, backing it, or they have to just start laughing about it because they know it's stupid in most cases. So, what are your thoughts on women growing up knowing? Okay, knowing women growing up knowing how manipulative women are. So to explain that first part, Javi, how women grow up knowing how manipulative women are, but are still easily manipulated by other women. Women are hardwired, in my opinion, women are hardwired to follow any group that is within her grasp that she can get into. Right? She's hard, and if she can deduce that this group of women, generally speaking, if she can deduce that getting in with this group of women, she can hang with this group of women, and she can propel herself off of that group of women, then she'll do anything to hang around. If you want a great example, there's a television show which I loved, by the way. I thought it was great, and they canceled it after like 2 or 3 seasons. Was Don't Trust the Bee in Room 23, or Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, or something like that. I loved that show. I thought it was excellent. I thought it was amazing. That show, because there's an episode where Chloe, the bee, the bitch, and Don't Trust the Bitch in Room 23, she goes and hangs out with the other female friends, and they're just terrible. They're terrible. Like it's like Mean Girls, but they're all like in their mid 20s, maybe early 30s kind of thing, and they're just terrible. They're awful. All the friends in that, she went to go hang out with them at a bar, and they were all acting fake, and they were calling each other out on acting fake. That's how women are. They're terrible. They're just not great people to exist. But they have to do it. Like they have to do it if they feel like they can excel. Like it's a visceral reaction, should I say? They're compelled to do it. They're like dogs. They can't not do it, right? Like when a dog sees some shit on the ground, he has to go sniff it, right? Even if you tell the dog is you shouldn't be sniffing shit, you shouldn't sniff other dog's asshole. Like the dog, it can't think else. It has to do it. AD is right. One of my female cousins lied and told a grown man she was 19 when she was 16. Girls, teenage years and older are going to do what they want if they want to do it. Yeah. I'm all out of water. Let me go grab another water. I'll be right back. All right. Oh man, the stories I got with because I have four. One was not my blood. Here's the thing: technically, these group of girls were my cousins. They were not my nieces, but it's kind of how we grew up. I think we kind of see they kind of see me more as an uncle than a cousin. Um, but yeah, one was not my blood, and the other, well, no, only one of them was my actual blood cousin, was my blood niece slash cousin. Only one of them was. But I just don't even. I only consider personally. I only consider the oldest one not my like more like a a companion, like a friend kind of thing. But in reality, only one of them was actually my blood relative. I just don't even think about it like that. So I just said it out loud. Oh man, those girls. Dude, I remember the one girl. I mean, when she was 16, 17, she had a guy pay for her ticket to come to go to Minnesota. I think it was. And she wasn't. She was just no. She was just a regular girl. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't nothing special. And she had a guy, pay, and he took her out there and took care of her for a while till he got tired of her pussy. And the other one, she had she was getting in all tight. Well, I remember one time I had just come over from I had just come over just to hang out because me and my cousin who's my age we play a lot of video games together. He was the one who got me into Dragon Ball Z. What little bit I do know about it because he was really into Dragon Ball Z like since I can remember. He always had I always knew who Goku was because he always was drawing pictures of Goku long before YouTube was even a thing. And I remember one time I had just come over and everybody was real weird, right? And I was like, yo, what happened? And I had to go. They said I had to go. And I found out that yeah, she had to have been about 14, 15 when this happened. She had snuck a guy over who was like 26, 27 years old. And I almost said her name. My cousin's wife came home and seen the guy and just snapped and beat the shit out of him, right? She actually beat up the guy because because her she could fight. I wouldn't want to have to. I doubt I could win if I got into a fight with her. I doubt it. And she just snapped and beat the shit out of him, right? And and I didn't even know what happened. Like I was just like, yo, what? And the second oldest one, she always had it was always a problem. She was probably from what I know, she was about the worst one. Now the youngest one was by far the prettiest, and then she was my blood cousin. She was by far the prettiest, but she ended up becoming gay. She has a girlfriend. But the boys would end up picking on her so bad because they wanted her. So they would like damage her car. I would get stores like because they was wanting her attention, but she didn't like. Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Now I'm talking about family shit. So the youngest one was by far the prettiest one out of all four of them. Now, and this is my only blood relative out of the girls. And I remember when she was like, she was small. She always had a crush on me. She would always call me her boyfriend, and my cousin would always have to go to her and say, no, Wendell's not your boyfriend. He's your cousin. You stop saying that, right? And she always crushed on me when she was like a little kid, right? And I can tell she still does now, right? Because you could just look at somebody who's younger than you and they start, how they just start acting and going, hi, and all that. Like she thinks I don't know, but I know, right? It's that thing. Because I always had a crush on his sister, on my cousin's bigger sister. But anyway, this is that weird situation. Um, I don't think she's gay. I think that she's just surrounded by a shitty crowd of guys that the best option is just to go with a woman at this point because she's not around a good quality of humans. Let's just put it like that. You know, I bet if you took her to a university or some shit like that, she would fuck around and find a boyfriend. But she's hanging around just that shitty, not even like a good hood, like a shitty hood. You know what I mean? Like complete trash of guys. So just nothing. I don't blame her. I don't think she's gay. I think she's gay out of lack of choice. And I don't say that to be mean. It's just the reality. But anyway, long story short, the girls, like I said, and that's just that group of girls. Instead of talking about the girls who I went to summer camp with down in the ghettos, or just hanging out in school, or just word of mouth of what somebody's daughter did now. Like for example, when I first moved to Czech Republic, we had a maid. Me and my ex-wife, we had a maid. Well, the maid and my ex-wife became friends. What I ended up finding out was that the maid was dating a guy. The guy ended up running off with her daughter, who was like 14. And she seriously doesn't talk to her. At the time, she didn't talk to her daughter anymore because of it. They didn't talk. She was 14. Her daughter was 14 and stole her mom's boyfriend, and they both ran off together. Her mom was probably like, I don't know, at that time, probably like 40, about 40. And so the guy had to have been, I'm guessing around the same age. Dude, when if them teenage girls want to go out somewhere, they're going to figure it out. What's up, Ivy Bolt? You do Tuesdays last week. Yeah, I did see your email. Let me open that real fast. So I'm gonna get off here at 9 in like 30 minutes because I got this. I'm setting up this VR headset now. Start at 15:06. Okay, one of these I could already see Kendra. I am not in the mood to hear Kendra. Yeah, I'll do this one.
So even though the grief does emerge and that comes and I hold that, I think of what I've done.
Okay. This is Tracy Ellis Ross.
So even though the grief does emerge.
Hang on. It's, you say 15:06 and go over at least till 35. Oh, where's the window at? 15:06. I think it's like 20 something now. 15. Okay. I don't think true lesbians exist. They just don't have access to the type of guys they actually want. That's a good man. That's a good point. Here's the thing. I think that I'm not gonna say true lesbians don't exist. But what I say is this: I think that sometimes just the pressure of being feminine for a man can be a lot depending on the woman. That alone can be a lot. Just that entire pressure of being, the image of woman to a woman who's just maybe not, depending on how she perceives what a woman is and all that, she could take, like, with guys who are masculine, right? Like, for example, I will bake some fresh homemade cookies. I will bake some fresh homemade bread. I do some relatively feminine, just some what people would consider feminine shit, right? Now, I play video games, which is considered childish. Whatever, right? Now, I'm comfortable with myself to do these things and talk about them out loud, right? But there's also guys who love this stuff, but would never ever share it because they're too afraid of it damaging their, their reputation of being masculine and all that, and they're just too afraid. So they'll just like hide it somewhere and go off and do it, or go off and do it, like in a back room. Or, just in order to maintain that role. Or some guys, will do it and then start to second guess their sexuality because they like, feminine shit and think that I did like the way the guy looked in some pants a couple weeks ago. Maybe I like guys now. Like, no, you don't like guys. You just like to make fucking bread, dude. You're not a fucking homosexual because you like fucking cookies and bread. You know what I mean? Like, so like, it's... the extremes that people's minds can go to from like one or two things can severely, take them down completely different paths in life, and all originated from like something relatively simple, right? But I'm not. But I think there are some people, because like I said, a friend of mine, his little brother was gay, and I was thinking about him a few weeks ago, or not actually last week. I was thinking about him, because he was gay, right? A friend of mine, his little brother was gay. And he was always gay since he was a kid, and we never made fun of him about it. We never called him we never. Okay, here's the thing. That's why I was thinking about it, because I was thinking about the word faggot, right? Because I was watching. I think I seen Dave Chappelle where he was talking the word. He was saying the word faggot in that comedy special, right? And like how to properly explain what a faggot was. Like a faggot was a person who picked the New England Patriots on Madden. That's a fag, right? Like let's say if you was playing Madden, right, and you was playing with a gay dude, everybody knew was gay, right? And y'all sitting down hanging out, and let's say it's a group of y'all, like it's 10 to 15, maybe even 30 y'all just hanging out. Like, let's not be 30 in a room playing Madden. Let's say it's like 5 to 10 of y'all in a room playing Madden and maybe playing pool or something. And you playing, with the gay dude, right? With the guy who's gay, and and he picks the New England Patriots, right? When Tom Brady was there, you mean when they were the New England Patriots, he picks the New England Patriots, and then somebody calls him a faggot. The first thing would be like, well, what'd he do? Did he pick the New England Patriots? Yep. Oh, well, yeah, you a fag for that, bro. Like that's what you pick the womanly easy way out. You pick the best team on the game. You're a fucking fag for that. You're not a fag because you suck dick. You're a fag because you picked the best fucking team in the game that nobody can beat. Or you gotta play real hard to beat them. But now I was thinking about the friend of mine, right, who grew up gay. And I remember when I went to his birthday party when he was like 20 or something like that, and they put his baby pictures up, and I was like, damn, like he was born gay, because these baby pictures, he was no older than 6 months in these baby pictures, and you could see it in his eyes in the baby pictures. He was gay. Like anybody could look at that and say, yeah, he was born gay. Period. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. When you see that, like that twinkle in his fucking eye, like. And not all gay dudes do this, but some gay dudes have this smile when they're relaxed, right? So I remember the first time I seen him, I called him when he was comfortable. I even know he was never uncomfortable, right? Because I grew up with him. We all played basketball, Nintendo, football, everything. We played 007 together. We played Mario Kart together. We played Cruiser USA on N64 together. We would always end up with 3 players, so that one screen would just be black. You know what I mean? We did all this shit together, right? And I still remember the first time I seen him comfortable. We was in middle school, and I was walking down the hallway, and I seen him hanging out with some pretty girls, right? But not in the sense of like you trying to get some numbers, but since like they was homies. You know what I mean? At the locker. And then, and it was like the way he smiled and laughed. Like there's a certain way that some gay guys like smile where they're just so like energized yet relaxed at the same time. Like I can't do it, but it's like this like, and they almost like had this like I can't do it, but it is like I wish I could simulate it, but I can't do it. And he was doing that smile. I was like, wow, he's fine. I was maybe with 13 or something like that. I remember going like, wow, he is finally comfortable. Like, and I could tell he had been wanting to be like that all the time, but he finally let go of the I guess trying to look straight, situation. Oh, because then I ended up seeing him on Instagram, and he's back on like trying to like he's like so because I grew up with him, right? Like literally grew up with him. So now like I looked him up on Instagram a while back, and I showed him to my spouse, right? I said, look, that dude is gay, right? Because now he's on Instagram, like over, like now he's like trying to be like super, like looking like a tough thug on Instagram, right? And he's taking pictures with women, with attractive women, looking like a tough thug. Like I would like if I didn't know him, I'd be scared of him, kind of thing, right? Like just by the picture alone, right? I said no, he's gay. That dude, like, I mean, not that makes him soft or anything, but like the pictures did not match. Like I could see it, I could immediately look at that and tell, oh yeah, he's over completely overacting. He's overcompensating for being gay. That's what it is. Completely overcompensating for it. It's like choosing the Warriors. Yeah, yeah. With Steph Curry and all them, they're picking the best team on the game. Yeah, you're a fag for doing that. It is an unwritten. Oh, this is my sword. Me and my son be playing with. It is an unwritten law amongst guys when they start playing sports games. You don't pick the best goddamn team, or you don't pick a team that really should be the best team. Like for example, like the Dallas Mavericks. Remember that when the Dallas Mavericks had like Michael Finley, Dirk Nowitzki, fucking Steve Nash. They had like a whole fucking squad. That team was I say is in the same ballpark of being just an unfair team. It was just too like they even though they never won championships in real life, that team was still just like in a video game world was still just like it might as well have been, you know, the best team kind of thing. You pick an average team. Or if you pick an above average team, now I got to pick an above average team. All right. I ain't going in there with the Grizzlies and you coming out here with, you know what I mean? Are the Grizzlies good yet? I don't know, because they used to always be dog shit when I was younger. I mean, let's start this video. Here's the thing. When it comes to the lesbian thing, I don't think women are nowhere near as picky as men are. I think women try to like do some reverse psychology bullshit, or not reverse psychology, but just women try to like women they see what men do and then try to mimic that to the 10th degree, like being strong and independent. Until they can't, right? Until they can't complete it. Being strong and independent, being, you know, physically strong, play sports. They want to go box, you know, until they got to come across a man or come across something that a real man would come across. Then they just give out and give up kind of thing. But it's in their nature to do that. They won it in 2011? Okay. Let me see. Because I was in school in 2011. And yeah, and by that point, I had lost track of the NBA. I'm glad they did win though, because they always had a good team. And Dirk Nowitzki, he really deserved it because Dirk Nowitzki was one of them. He was, from what I remember, he was pretty much like a Kevin Durant before Kevin Durant, just because he was like 7 foot tall and could actually, you know, he was relied on to shoot well in games. But yeah, let's start this video because I don't want to skip past it.
Your heart more open than it should. Yes, that was hard.
All right.
More open than it should be, but I do date, and it's a fascinating adventure out there. You know, mostly though, I think there's really good men out there. I think to a certain extent, I'm a very unique sort of unicorn of a woman, and so it's gonna take a unique person. And in the meantime, I have really learned how to live my life and enjoy it and not sit around waiting. I was saying to someone recently that I'm one of the first generations of choice, and it's not anymore, which really, there was a window and that has shifted. And I do think that that's going to change dating for women so much.
When you mean you've been the sort of the product of choice.
Yeah, like the assumption of Roe v. Wade and the ability for a woman to find her own delight and pleasure and choice around how she navigates dating or how one would navigate dating. And we're in a different world now. And I'm curious what that will look like. It frightens me for younger girls because of many reasons, obviously. But even with the systemic protection of Roe v. Wade,
Yeah.
I still was coming up against the cultural norms
Yeah.
of being a choiceful woman
Mhm.
and owning my own body and my own choices and what it is that I'm looking for in a relationship and the ability to negotiate in a relationship what it is you want the relationship to be between the two
Yeah.
of you, as opposed to what society says it should be.
Well, I
And that's
don't,
different.
I don't know that we're gonna lose that. I think women, we're used to having a say in our lives.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether the whole movement is about sort of reharnessing us, you know,
Shit.
whether it is it really about,
And-
you know,
and can that really
reproductive
work?
rights? Can that really work now that women are educated and we're being raised differently? I mean, the truth is that fathers are modernized.
Yes.
Right? I mean,
Mostly.
mostly they are, you know, and if you were to ask the average man, how are you raising your daughter? Because you love her. The average father that loves their daughter wants them to be excellent, you know, and they want them to have opportunity and freedom.
And
I mean,
freedom.
when you think about you don't want your daughter saddle marrying some guy that chose her because he just didn't think about anything else
and
was
who believes
ready
that
at
her
the
body
time.
is his choice.
Exactly. So I don't think a lot of leaders are thinking about that. You
yeah,
know?
well, and they haven't been asked to, because I think it's not always a context that if it's an area that you don't have to think into,
Right.
but I think there is it is a genuine regular thought process for me. It's one
Yeah.
of the reasons, I mean, we've talked about this, that often I date younger men, and a lot of it is because
Let's stop on that, folks.
Oh my God, we had a
Several
great dinner.
snaps on that
we
one.
had a great dinner, by the way, where across the table, your husband goes, "But why?" And I said, "Well, maybe because I can."
Yes, Parish. This
No.
is what I'm saying. Tales from Tracy's.
It's fun. It's really
Okay,
fun to share.
Tracy Tales.
But
but
you date a
I'm
younger
sorry.
woman.
but
Ju-
one of the
younger men.
reasons, though, that because I had to ask myself that question, I was like, "What is this about?"
Yeah.
Because I want a partner, and so often, and it's not just that I'm older. I'm also very embodied. I am a full, very whole person who
Yes.
knows myself, who is in charge of my life, and who lives a very full.
Shut the fuck. Man, look, here's the thing. It's hard to take somebody serious whose mother is Diana Ross. All right, there is. I mean, I'm not saying she can't struggle and all that, but okay. This woman's a see. This is that Beyonce shit. Now Beyonce didn't grow up rich, but this women is okay, especially in this boat, should not be allowed to talk on YouTube ever about relationship advice. Okay, because from birth you were in a whole different tier of. All right, now she gonna have see. Sarah and Susan, who working at Tesco and Walmart, gonna get to listening to Tracy Ellis Ross. Like, yeah, I need to model my life like that. I need to be thinking like Tracy Ellis Ross. Like, no, that bitch is on a whole nother tier of men. Than see, this social media. Social media has motherfuckers all confused, completely confused. All right, she has okay. First off, she's a woman. She's just born a woman. So there's always going to be somebody who's desperate for pussy. I don't care if it's the president's wife. All right? She can hate me for the rest of her life. Fuck them. I don't give a fuck. Hate me. But tell me I'm lying. She has a pussy. So in worst case scenario, somebody's going to be hunting around looking for some extra side pussy. Just because you are a woman. By default. Right? Now, if it ain't that, well, you have the potential to take care of some younger guy. Even though she's going to say, I ain't taking care of nobody. Yes, she will. Okay. Because she ain't going out there hooking up with Justin Bieber. She ain't going out there hooking up with Omarions. Remember him? She ain't going out there hooking up with a younger guy who got his shit together. And if she did, it's not going to be for too long. Right? I would, I'd do this, but I would be highly shocked. I'd be highly shocked if she did. Okay, for multiple reasons. One, she grew up in a different tier of human, right? A different tier of financial situations. You know, popular. There's people lined up to come be her assistant. Right, but both of these women, what's her name, Michelle Obama and her. There's thousands of people lined up with applications. Can I please be your assistant? I'll go get you some Dunkin' Donuts. They'll do anything for free, just so they can say they was Tracy Ellis Ross' assistant. So just from that base right there, her logic should not even be listened to by 95% of the population. This shit should be YouTube should censor this shit to where they should be able. YouTube should really start censoring what adult should be able to listen to it. And for a bitch like Tracy Ellis Ross, it should be, if a woman wants to watch this shit, they should go, okay, please submit your tax information. And if you don't earn at least this and that, then you don't need to be taking any advice from Tracy Ellis Ross. Right? Don't even listen to her. It should be illegal. All right. See, I ain't even heard what you got to say, but I can tell you right now. See, it's women like her who got women sitting down, working in customer service on a phone line, thinking they gonna date James Bond. Right? It's women like this who get to talking and forget their positions in life and thinking that they gonna have Susan in marketing dating The Rock. She holding out waiting for The Rock to come marry her. Or like them catfish shows where it be some old dingbat looking woman. She's sitting up waiting for Tom Cruise to come marry her. And he's sending her pictures from the hospital bed with a Photoshop face saying, hey, my dear, just send me $500 so I can pay my health insurance copay. And her dumb ass will believe it. Because she's been listening to women like this. It should be illegal. This should be illegal. I should report this on YouTube.
Robust life. So it's not just age, it's like life experience and sort of a difference. But I had to ask myself the question, why? Why does this keep sort of coming up other than they're hot and gorgeous?
There's that.
There's that. But a lot of men my age are steeped in a toxic masculinity and have been raised in a culture where there is a particular way that a relationship looks. And anything that starts to smell of that for me, I did enough of it where I was controlled and felt like I was a possession or whatever those things were, or prize, I have no interest in it, and I will not do it again.
I'm sorry.
No,
Craig.
I was gonna say, it's a generational thing. So it didn't matter how you met them, or is it just
I'm
kind
not
of the
saying,
guys you're meeting?
That's obviously
Too big of a
it's
generalization.
a generalization, but because I have dated men my age, there is a difference. There is an openness that occurs with a younger man around whether it's gender fluidity or not even having an issue with homosexuality. I mean, something as basic as that there's times where I'll be, sitting across the table from somebody and just like, what did you just say?
Yeah, what century are you?
Like, oh my God.
Where's your horse and buggy?
Yeah, like, I'm so sorry.
And your bedpan.
Yeah, for real.
Chamber pot.
Yeah, your chamber pot. Your chamber pot. Like, where I'm just like, yeah, this is not a match. And I have long been past the age where I feel like it's my job to teach somebody or grow them up. That I'm not interested in. So, but it's interesting. I mean, there's so many different philosophies on dating, and I have come up with mine. I have come up with what works for me and what makes sense for me and what feels safe for me. I mean, like, I'm not on dating apps. I have friends that have great success with dating apps, but that's just not something I'm comfortable with.
So you're meeting folks in the wild then?
That's the only way for me, or someone sets me up, or I meet them at an event. I meet someone. It's usually people that also have a level of recognition that they have as much to lose as me to a certain extent. I don't know. I mean, I haven't had great luck lately, but I do have to say I'm moving up on what it is that I'm looking for as a match. I've had some doozies. Yeah.
But I just love watching your life because you were modeling so many things, the next phase, how many versions of ourselves we can become at all ages in life, and how to build the life you want.
Yes.
Not the life that somebody told you you were supposed to have. And let me tell you, I told you this about the girls, and Tracy, just like, she mentors the girls, she's always there for them. But trying to make sure that I am not subconsciously sending them these messages about what their life should look like. Even like when you ask, are you dating anyone? I mean, that's something that we ask young people in their 20s. You know, the whole thing about weddings,
We talk a lot about that.
yeah, it's just like the pre-proposal and the back.
my-
Okay, wait. So let's go see, because now they diving into that same, like, all one woman is all women when it comes to this. It doesn't matter if it's the president's wife or the whore sucking cock on 3rd and Grand. One woman is all women when it comes to this. And I was just telling my spouse this. I said, look, women never, and she agreed with me that women never grow out of Are we in a relationship? How's our relationship? They never grow out that shit. How's a relationship? Am I in a relationship? I'm looking for a relationship. Relationship. It's that same high school shit. It doesn't matter. I don't care what university they went to, what job they've had, if they were born into wealth, or if they're deep throating a cock in a 1998 Honda Civic. It's always the same thing. They don't grow out of this shit. They never, like, their brains are forever stunted in this area. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they come from. And I was telling my spouse, women will always have the hardest time dating between the ages of 35 to 50, give or take a few years depending on the woman. But every woman is going to have severe issues between the ages of 35 to 50, because those are the years where men usually snap out of it. And it just, all those years of trying, getting rejected, succeeding, whatever, men just get tired of that emotional toll of making sure a woman's happy and all that. And men will eventually, not all men, but many men will eventually go off and just, find some other hobby. Because the hobby ain't going to do all that. And then these women, if they're lucky enough that the last man they had stuck around, right? If they're lucky, like Michelle Obama, she's lucky enough that Barack is still hanging around. She's lucky that let's be very clear about that, right? Right. But on the other hand, you have these Tracy Ellis Rosses who are trying to, like, put on this image like, no, I'm choosing this life. No, you ain't. No, you're not. No, look at Sofia Vergara. She got left. Leff. And she's still sexy. And she got left. Leff. Because men will grow off to want something different. Men will continue to grow. And women do all the hardcore growing and developing pretty much from, I'd say, the ages of like 8 to like 14 is when women do hardcore growing and developing. And they're, and then after about 14, 15, it's done. Everything else is now a mimic of what they think mature people should do. Men don't start that same hardcore growth till about 35-ish on the early end. I say in reality more like 40. Mostly due to sheer exhaustion. Most of the times. Usually due to sheer exhaustion of trying to get a woman, trying to make her happy and all this stuff. And you just finally have that deeper understanding, like, look, I can't make a woman happy who's not happy, right? And then you just leave. Or do your own thing, find your own hobby, right? And since women never grow out of exhaustion, women grow out of greed. Right? Women very see, and that's why men will always be intellectually far better off than women throughout an entire lifespan of humanity. The men will always be better. Women just cannot. The average woman's path just cannot on any level compete with a man's growth. When you talk about over the course of 40, 50 years, you just can't, because she will never experience that sheer exhaustion, you know, exhaustion in combination with being left like that hard. Mostly because just as fast as a woman can get left in her early years, she can immediately replace being left with 5 other men at the same time. So woman never truly experiences loneliness. No woman. A woman in a coma doesn't experience loneliness. There's still men coming in there trying to fuck her. Right? But it's that loneliness where true growth happens. It doesn't matter. Look, and this is proof. It doesn't matter if you're the president's wife or were born in the rich and royalty, or you're sucking cock for $5 on the street corner. They never grow out this shit. They never do. Never do.
Lorette and the pre-honeymoon, and then the 3 wedding dresses, and have you thought about
the amount of money,
your 32 list items of who you want to marry, or are you more busy picking out your photographer?
Yeah, it's interesting, that whole, I hope that is starting to dissipate culturally.
So.
I really do. I think social media is perpetuating some of those things in a really big way. But I did dream of my wedding growing up. And that's not to say that I didn't dream of the bigness of my life, but I could have spent a lot more time dreaming of my life. And as much as grief does surface for me around not having children and not having a partner, I still wouldn't want the wrong partner.
That's a great point for people to hear.
I'm not interested in that. You have to make my life better. It can't just be, I'm in a relationship to be in a relationship. So even though the grief does emerge and that comes and I hold that, I think of what I've done, and I woke up every morning trying to do my best. I didn't wake up one morning and be like, I'm going to mess this day up.
That's right.
So I must be where I'm supposed to be. And I don't know, sometimes I think of all of the things I've done, the courage that I've had to have, and what I've had to learn how to navigate as a single person with no one to hide behind.
Yeah.
No. You had plenty to hide behind. You know what that plenty was? Your mother. That's who the plenty was. You were always hiding behind mommy and mommy's friends. See, this woman has at minimum 90% of women should not be legally allowed to listen to her. Period. She don't got to get up and go to work to pay her rent. She don't got to get up she don't have to find money to pay her rent. She can go make a movie next week if she wants to. This is trash. This is complete garbage. You know what this? She's a step above. Was that Tia and Tamara for the sister shit? She's a step above sister. Because her mommy was a big deal. The sister didn't have that, as far as I know. This should be illegal. This should be flagged for bullshit. This is terrible. And what's crazy is you're gonna have middle-aged black women sitting in a fucking customer service desk streaming this shit on some podcast on their fucking iPhone that they got on a lease. Trying to up their life by getting life advice from these two. Jesus fucking Christ. And then you wonder why motherfuckers are confused. You wonder why women are severely confused.
And it's built a really beautiful experience
Yes.
around me, and I have incredible friends.
You do.
Well, this is a good segue to get to our
Okay,
question,
let's do it.
especially the talking about dating and meeting people, and we have a great question. So Natalie, our
Natalie.
producer, is going to read
Gonna
the
take it
question
away.
for. Make sure your mic works over there. Is it
I
working?
think we're good.
Testing,
All right.
Yeah, we're
testing.
good.
I'm excited.
Hi, Michelle and Craig. My name is Ronan, and I'm 41 years old. I've got a question about that big, frustrating topic, dating.
Yeah.
More accurately, I should say, how not to date. Let me explain. Throughout my 30s, I was in and out of relationships. One was very fruitful. It lasted several years, but in various respects of our lives, the timing just did not align, so we ended up splitting up. Since then, I've found myself in relationships that have been very clearly unsuccessful. One woman's creative and professional interests totally matched mine, but we fought constantly. Then I was with a woman who was great. Our leisure interests were similar, her family was great, but I was just not that into it. Something was missing. Most recently, I ended up in a longer-term relationship that my friends at least would call toxic. We had great chemistry, and I was really in love with her, but she struggled with sustained intimacy after a recent divorce. And as a result, I got myself caught in a pretty regular cycle of hurt. Since then, my dating has been a mess. I've been distracted by women I simply find attractive, but who otherwise clearly are not a match. And in the meantime, I still find myself thinking about my last relationship. So this brings me back to the start of my question. My closest friends are telling me the one thing I need now is to not date. They tell me if I can figure out how to be happy on my own, I'll have a better chance of finding happiness with someone else.
Yeah, see, by the time your friends start telling you you need to be happy by yourself, you need to figure out how to be happy by yourself, you are fucked up. I got a perfect example. A friend of mine's in this, he's a guy too. He's in the same boat. By the time your friends got to tell you that, okay, here's the thing. And this is something that people need to hear, right? This is something that people need to hear. I want to make this loud and clear. By the time people start telling you something, okay, by the time people are coming to you and telling you something, all right, it's a big problem. Okay, if they're like directly telling you, right? But by the time it's even come out, because most people are not going to just tell you something immediately. It's going to be like, most people don't want to start problems, friction, and all this. So they're going to hope you just kind of figure it out. By the time people got to come to you and tell you they want you to leave or something like that, okay, just leave. Just leave. Just do something. Perfect example is I got a friend of mine. I'm waiting for him to heal off this because I know he got his feelings hurt. So his wife left him. And as I was telling my spouse, I said, look, any guy who's looking for a relationship between the age of 35 and 50, who's like looking for a relationship and trying to move in as fast as possible and all that stuff, any guy who's doing that is not a guy you want. All the guys you want are just not going to want you. Once you hit these age groups. And he's a guy he keeps trying to go out and try to find somebody. So he moved in with his girl, right? And the girl just inherited a house, which is common in here. It's common out here, in the country, right? She inherited a house, and the house needed work. But you can still live in it and all this stuff. But it's a big house, but it needs to be painted. A lot of old stuff just in there. So he wanted me to come and help him tear down this greenhouse. So I did. I went out there to helped him tear down a greenhouse, which I shouldn't have done because my back is terrible. But I just I did it because just as a friend, right? He asked me to do it. So I went out to this village in the middle of nowhere in Czech Republic. And Jesus Christ. And I'm only saying this for scientific purposes. I'm not saying this to like make fun of him or bash him. Everything I'm saying is going to be for scientific purposes, you know, as a case study. He had already come up with, he was going to remodel the kitchen. He put his kids' furniture in a room and made one of the rooms for his kids, right? And they had been dating less than a year, And he was gonna remodel the kitchen, do that, and he had me out there breaking down the green. As soon as, not long after I got there, I seen what it was. I was like, oh shit, this isn't gonna end well. And I really should leave right now, but I'm gonna stay for him. But I knew this was not gonna work out with him and that girl, right? And so as soon as I got back, you know, I told my spouse, I said, look, that was a train wreck. She is not going to want to put his name on anything. He's in there doing all that work, and his name isn't on anything in that house. And then at first, my spouse, she goes, oh, no, well, maybe that American have, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. So let's put it in perspective. Let's say before we met, there was a guy that you really liked, and y'all just started dating. Would you ask him to come over and move refrigerators for you and hook up internet and all that? Would you ask the guy that you really liked to come do some shit like that? And she goes, oh, no. I wouldn't. Yeah, it was a train wreck. So about last week, something like that, I woke up to a text message where he was telling me that she wanted him gone. She didn't want the girls living there with him. She didn't want to put his name on anything, you know, and she wanted him gone. And he said, but the relationship is still there because we have a lot of great sex. And I couldn't tell him at the moment because I know he's heard about it, but that relationship is over. By the time a woman wants you gone, it's over. Just forget she exists. She's dead to you. It's over. It's done. Fuck it. Just whatever happened, just move, keep moving, and forget her. By the time your friends or your girlfriend or your spouse is telling you anything along the line, anything like that, you fix it immediately, or just leave. Don't just disappear. Whatever. It doesn't matter. How do you super chat? How do I super chat? I don't know. I don't know. Simster, I honestly don't know how to super chat. I can't tell you. Let me hang on. I think there's a there's a link in the live stream. Yeah, let me respond to this message because my phone's on. Just had to reply to a text message. But I can't tell you, man. I think AD has to be. Oh yeah, the super chats. Yeah, okay, yeah. For that, yeah. And my channel's not monetized at all. Yeah.
The thing is, I am not totally convinced by this. I enjoy dating, but I also understand that what I'm doing clearly is not working. So, what in the world would you say to a guy like me? Are my friends right? Should I try to enter into a period of being single by choice? How could I actually benefit from being single if I ultimately really want a partner and family? And if it is helpful, what tips do you have to help me put this period of non-dating into practice and to make it stick?
It's a guy, but it's the same shit. It's a guy, but by the time people are telling you got to be happy with yourself, okay. But by the time people tell you, guy or girl, by the time they tell you that, they had been talking about it for months before they told you. At minimum, weeks or months before they approached you with it to somebody or to themselves. Okay. So that means okay, it's by the time they bring up any kind of advice, they have been thinking about it, talking about it for weeks before they brought it up to your attention. Okay. And it's just a reality you got to face. Like if you stink, if you smell, if something smells, something like that, whatever, just take it and just accept it and move on. Somebody offers you gum, just take it. Like if people offer me gum, I never reject it. I don't think I have. If you offer me some gum, I am going to take the gum. Okay. A mint, a gum, anything. All right, because that's one of those. It's just one of those things. A man should be asking Mike and Tracy for dating. Well, yeah, I agree with that too. I agree with that. Here's I don't know why people want. I don't know why people are so worried about dating like that. I mean, there's definitely some lonely, stretches, but like this whole push for like dating seems to be ridiculous over the past, I would say pretty much after COVID is when I've noticed it getting ridiculous. Not just like a common thing, but it's gotten ridiculous. I'd say pretty much after COVID, a lot of things changed. Now it's like people's entire identity. And like, yeah. Like I don't get it. I don't get this push for just being desperate and like needing a relationship, blah blah. I don't get it. I don't get it. Mm.
Thanks for your advice, Ronan.
It's a great question.
Yeah. And it's interesting coming from a 40-ish man,
Yeah, I like it.
because men can marry when they choose to, just like
Well,
you
yeah,
did.
Well, yeah, and that goes back to what I just said about a friend of mine before that. Usually, men between the age of 35 to 50, either they're going to snap out of it, or they're going to be stuck in that constant rotation of chasing something. And like I told my spouse, like I told all the women I know, between those age brackets, there's a good enough chance that any guy that's gonna come around you initially, you're not coming to them, they're coming to you. It's not gonna be a guy you're gonna want. He's gonna be desperate or like dependent or something like that. Now, dating can still happen, but the woman would have to go to the man. Like, it's just how it is. The woman's going to have to come, like, the woman would have to come to me. Unless we happen to, like, accidentally start talking on a train or something like that. Like, the woman's going to, I just have personally speaking, from my opinion, I think, in men like me, we just have too many personal hobbies and things we enjoy. Like, we can really weigh out the importance of our peace and quiet and our time versus having to deal with emotions and are they in a good mood and do they want to go out and should I make plans for Friday or Saturday and and all that. But when I really just want to sit inside and play a video game or watch a game or study or read or literally do anything that I know I'll enjoy, or do I take a chance on enjoying this with somebody who might not be in a good mood? Guys like myself will weigh those options, and it's just going to be a quicker, easier route to just, at worst, go to a brothel and then play PlayStation and be in perfectly, quiet, peaceful times, and not have to go, oh, well, is Tracy Ellis Ross? Is she in a bad mood? How does she like my last text message? I don't know. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just not doing it. I have a soft spot for Charlize Theron, and I highly doubt I would date Charlize Theron. It just is what it because of that. I'm too old now. I'm gonna weigh the options. Gaines days. I enjoy my peace and hobbies. But yeah, it's just that. So here, because it's almost so by the time, like, so for example, like the guy who called into this show, like by the time guys are in this boat, here's the thing, women, it almost even screams to women that this guy must be dumb, right? Because if he's putting this much interest into a woman at this age, he's severely behind. Because women know, okay, here's the thing, for real, women know that they are a nuisance to society. Like they know it. Like it's not a complete secret or mystery. It at best it's an illusion to the world that they try to hold that they're of value and the world needs you around, needs them around kind of thing, right? But like women know deep here's the women know that they are a walking nuisance in the world. Like they know it. They are 100% aware of it because that's why when they have to and here's how I'm going to prove it. This is how I'm going to prove how women know they are a nuisance in the world, right? Because whenever it comes up that they actually need some work done, they need some help, they will never go to the man that they really, really, really want. They're going to go to that man who they don't like. Or he might be all right, at best. See, why is it that they never go with their real problems to the man that they really like in life? See, for that man that they really like in life, they're going to put on the whole show to make their life seem as easy and as fluid as possible. If they really like him and he comes around, they know it's thing. See, go ask Riley Reid, the porn star. Go ask Michelle Obama. Ask Tracy Ellis Ross. Ask Jenna Jameson. Ask all the porn stars and the president's wives and all. Ask all of them. Okay, if there's a man you really wanted, what do you think he would like? Do you think he'd like a whore, or do you think he'd like a woman who hasn't been around with a million guys? And they all would know. And say, okay, would you want a guy who would you want to bring all your life problems to the guy who you really liked, or would you bring him to a guy who's just like who who likes you but you don't like him? You already know which way they're gonna go. They know it. Like they know these things are real. The harder thing to accomplish is to keep the illusion going that this is not what they like. That they're admirable and it's the opposite way. Now, here on the flip side, here's the thing. On the flip side, see, woman wants to be in a woman's perfect environment. She wants to be of help in an environment that she knows she can truly be helpful in. Now, let's say for Tracy Ellis Ross, for example, she's like 50. I don't know. She's old. Okay. Even though she has a name on her that she did not make herself, her mother made that name. But regardless, she has money also. Okay, she knows that she cannot go out and compete with women that men really want. She knows it. It's hurtful to say. I get it. I know it. It's true. Whatever. But she knows it. I'm not lying. Okay, if I stood her up there next to Lana Rhodes, she is gonna get walked over 15,000 times for guys to get the Lana. And Lana Rhodes is a known whore. She's gonna get walked over. She's gonna get trampled on to get that. Not just because she's a white girl, but because she fits, the overall situation better. Right. Reminds me of the story of women asking Charlemagne for a designer purse instead of the rich guy. Oh yeah, Java. Yeah, that Strion did a long time ago when he asked him for a purse. Yeah, she wanted that purse from Charlemagne so she can go show off to the guy she really wanted. That she has purses like that. Well, yeah. Where's I going with that? I forgot where I was going with it earlier. Fuck. But yeah. I forgot where I was going with what I was saying before. It's going on 9:30. I'm gonna get off here in like 10 minutes. Yeah. And the sad part is like, see, there's guys out there who are dumb enough to do that. Like, it still shocks. It's still unbelievable to me why there's guys out there who will go. I think because I think that guy, the Charlemagne guy. I think didn't he say he paid off his wife's like student loans or something like that and all that crazy shit too. Like, why would you? No. My child's mother's got debts. I'm not paying that shit. I told her what she needs to do to go fix it. I told you, you make these phone calls and you fix it. I'm not paying that shit. I could. I'm not. All right. I've made it very clear to her. This is not a surprise. If she's watching, she knows. I've made it very clear. But it shocks me how there's guys out there who are they. I don't know if they're just that caught up in their own ego or they're just that desperate. Or like why these rappers go out there and buy these women these cars or just pay their bills. Like, I don't understand that. I really don't. I'm not doing any of that. Period. I can't think of one time. I can't. I don't know where that comes from, especially after you get older. And then it's like now, like there's women all around the world. You see what I'm saying? Like there's just a smarter way to go about doing this. Once you understand, once you understand humanity, right? And then you have the money to go out. If you're lucky enough in life, if you're however you want to say, lucky, blessed, whatever. If you're blessed enough to go out in life and you can just throw down a few $1,000s, just to make a bitch smile. Or have a bitch, the image of a bitch's face smiling in your head because you ain't even seen her when you cashapped it to her or sent it to her in the mail, some doofy shit like that. If you were lucky enough in life to do that, then you should be smart enough to think around ways financially to get that same level bitch or higher somewhere else in the world. Because again, you gotta remember, average wages shift up hardcore when you go to different countries. Like I said a while back on another live stream with when that black dude, that dumbass black dude, he was sending that Ukrainian bitch like thousands of dollars, and because she kept saying, "Oh, I need this, I need that." Dude, that was like any Ukrainian woman talking about she need any more than $100 is completely full of shit. Because I get $100 could be like a bill. Okay, here's it. Because you got to remember, in a country like Ukraine, of course, before Russia hit it, in a country like Ukraine, the average wage per month was about $300. Most people, average people, are going to make about $300. I know because I was there for a month and scouted the place out very well. Okay, I say most people probably earn less than that. For real. But in Kiev, in the capital, about $350, you'd be lucky making $500 a month there. So why is this Ukrainian woman need thousands of dollars for? She found a fool. That's what it is. All right. So the longer I think about it, the more it becomes clear. Like when these guys do stupid shit like this, like buy expensive purses and bags for these dumbass. Okay. Now, the only way I would be able to be okay with that is if that woman if that woman could tell me the type of thread that's being used to stitch that purse up. If she could tell me and then compare that thread with other threads. The quality of thread that's used to stitch that purse, the exact quality, and she could pull out, if that woman could legitimately educate me on the types of leather, the types of thread, the quality of zipper, whether it was like the YKK or whatever the fuck, and it goes up from there. If she could sit there and describe to me the quality of it and why it's respected, then I would say it'd be worth it because that is her thing, and I will go out of my way to help her out in what is her thing. But if she's just some dumbass dingbat bitch who wants a bag because it says Chanel or Fendi on it, because she just wants to walk around with a bag that says Fendi on it, that is a fucking idiot. Period. All right. fucking period. If she just wants to ride in a Ferrari because it just says Ferrari on it, that bitch is a fucking idiot. If a man buys a Ferrari just because it says Ferrari on it, he's a fucking idiot. Because it's stupid. You're a fucking nigger for doing some shit like that. You don't know what the damn brake pads use. You don't know what kind of engine it got in it. You don't even know what kind of gas. You don't even know where to put the gas in it at. You just bought it because it says Ferrari on it. That's the dumbest reason to buy some expensive shit. Period, dude. That's the dumbest reason. Back when I was into bags, I have one Coach bag here that I bought from the Coach store. It's in the other room. And back then I was into that and I bought that. And I bought it on sale. Okay. All right. If there's that Charlemagne like it just like I'm just curious to see where these guys' brains are. Like, is your ego that weak, or are you that desperate, or are you trying to live up to some misplaced sense of establishing yourself as a human? I don't know what that is about. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I don't get it. Wanting to take a woman out to an expensive, now if the expensive restaurant was something you liked, then that's fine. But don't take a bitch out to an expensive restaurant because it's your gift. Look, bitches don't know the difference from food. Okay, again, unless that woman specifically knew the exact thing she wanted and that restaurant had, then I say, yeah, do it. Go for it. Take her to that expensive restaurant because that's the only place where you're going to find bluefin tuna that's cooked in that exact way. That's the only restaurant that's going to sell you that. Then I say, yeah, 100% go for it. Do it. But if you're going to take a bitch to an expensive restaurant just because you got some image in your head that she's going to be happy because you spent a lot of money on a restaurant for her and it's nice, that is the most niggerish shit to do in your goddamn life. You'd be better off just go do heroin. I'll tell you, just go do heroin and just get high by your damn self instead of doing that. It's stupid. It's dumb. I remember when we started dating, me and and I wanted to go eat. I wanted to go get some sushi, right? And I said, yeah, sushi, it ain't gonna open. In Europe, they got weird hours sometimes. They a bit more relaxed out here. So like Saturday, a lot of restaurants won't even open till like 12 or 1. I guess same in America, similar, but in other ways they get weird like that over here. So I say I really want some sushi, and she goes, no, they open at 11. I said, no, they're not gonna open at 11. It's Saturday. She goes, yes, they are. Yeah, but so we go, and they weren't open, and we had to sit outside, but there was like a bench we could sit, so we just sat out there, and we still laugh about that to this day. And we're going to sushi, and I got this, this big ass sushi, platter thing, and she didn't like sushi. She just picked through it and didn't even eat 5 pieces. She just wanted to go because sushi is classy. I mean, I wanted to go because I wanted some sushi, but she wanted to go because sushi is just classy. That's what women do, man. They don't care about food, okay? And very few women are genuinely, okay, when I say into food, very few women are genuinely into food. Into food, meaning that they genuinely care about the craftsmanship of it. You see what I'm saying? Like, I have a huge respect for butchers. I think it's a very underpaid field. I would love to be a butcher if I could get in somewhere to do it. I've always had a high respect for butchers. Farmers, butchers, I've always loved the craft of it. I respect that. Same reason why I like macaroons, right? I love macaroons. Well, now, here's the thing. My favorite I've tried a ton of different macaroons, right? Macaroons are relatively expensive. They're usually like at least a couple dollars for one cookie, and one cookie's like that big. It's really small, but it's the craftsmanship. I will spend a lot of money if the craftsmanship is there. Um, and I've tried macaroons. They're supposedly from somewhere everywhere that I can find. Every store that I'll see, if I see they sell macaroons, I'm gonna buy at least 2 so I can try them. And to this day, my favorite macaroons, believe it or not, comes from Lidl, which you would think would be like the cheapest, dumbest shit. But by far, Lidl, over here, Lidl is a grocery store. It's a basic grocery store. It's like Thriftway, Kroger's, Winn-Dixie. I don't know where you may live, but it's a regular Lidl. Lidl's macaroons are still my favorite ones. And I've had it from Italy, France, all throughout Czech Republic, different restaurants here, there. And to this day, my favorite macaroons are from Lidl for $5 for a pack of them for like 12. Those are still and she got them for me for my birthday this year. The craftsmanship in macaroons. So if you eat a real macaroon, the beauty of it is how they make the shell, because it's a very delicate process to make that. I've never made macaroons, but I read it and I said, yeah, that's no bullshit. You got to do it just right, or it's not going to come out smooth. Like, you can Google macaroons. I'm not going to Google it, but the craftsmanship. Another example was we were walking around this mall called Chodov. It's the biggest mall in Czech Republic. I want to say I think it's the biggest mall in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. Let's Google that. We were walking around Chodov Mall. I think it's the biggest mall in Europe, or it's the biggest mall in Czech Republic. I think it's like I'm pretty sure it's either the biggest mall in Europe or it's the biggest mall in Czech Republic. Oh shit, what's this? Chimneys. Jesus Christ. Translate this shit. I ain't in the mood to read that. Change to English. I want to say it was like it's the biggest mall, and maybe oh yeah, it's the largest one in Czech Republic. That's what it is. Here it is right here. It was on Wikipedia, so I don't know, but yeah. So we was walking around there, and I happened to see this. It was this kiosk, and they were selling expensive chocolates. But when you seen the chocolates, they legitimately looked like it was a cut in half marble, and it was like, I mean, it looked like glass. It was literally a cut in half, like, imagine like a big M&M, but it was cut in half, and it was like perfectly shiny, like clear and shiny with like marble coloring inside of it, and it was expensive too. And I bought some for me, and I bought some for her because she was with me. You see, I didn't buy it for her. I bought it because I was interested in the fucking craftsmanship that you can actually eat it. It was amazing. It was incredible. I mean, it was just regular chocolate, but it was more for the craftsmanship of it, to understand that it must have been difficult to make this, or not even difficult, just some, unknown tactic to create it. That's what will grab my interest in spending, money on things. Now, again, I wouldn't have just bought it. I mean, who knows? Maybe I could have. Maybe if I was just in like a weird mood, I would have bought it, just to see what she would do. But I would never buy like, something expensive or, something like that. Lidl. Oh, they're in North Carolina. Yeah, Lidl. Oh man, Lidl is great. There's one up the street from me actually. But I never go there because it's like you gotta go uphill, and it's just too far to walk. They care more about the image of being in a fine dining restaurant. Yeah. There was, honestly, man, like we just know how to cook. Between me and her, we cook so well that I never have to go out to eat. And I'll eat some of anything. Like, for example, this morning. You know what I did? You know what I did this morning? I woke up, and the first time I did this was actually when I was in Ireland. So if you watch, and I did this at your house, I just got some bread, and I cut up butter. I got 3 pieces of bread, and I cut up butter into, relatively thin sliced pieces, put it on the bread and on layers, and then I put honey on it on top of that, and just put it in the microwave like that for a little while until it melts, and eat it. And it's just like pancakes to me, and I think it tastes great. And I could see the look on her face, like she didn't even want to try it. I said, "Here, try this." And now here's the thing. Now my spouse is very honest with food. If she doesn't like it, like she's gonna tell you she doesn't like it. And if she comes back for more, then she liked it. And she came back for more. She came back for more. Then I'll fuck around and eat some chicken livers that are super cheap. Then the next day, I don't know, I might do something that's considered, exotic. Oh, let me show you guys something. This is something. Now this is interesting. This is really interesting. If she's watching, she knows I'm getting ready to go get, because she was with me. She told me about it, and I bought 2 packs of it. So my dad is flying here in about a month, not about a few weeks now. When I went to go meet them at the center, right, my spouse and baby, right, I got off the tram, right, and she goes, "Wendell, guess what they're selling over there?" Because they had these outdoor, areas where they sell stuff outside the mall. I said, "What they selling?" And she goes, "Oh, they're selling worms, but they're in dirt." I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, it's a good pet for a little kid. It's a little weird, but, that's cool." And she goes, No, they sell them for you to eat them." I said, "To eat them?" She goes, "Yeah, it's gross." So she takes me over there to the guy, right? And he had these. Wait, can you see this? So these are worms, right? He's a worm, and this chestnut is garlic. Chestnut is Czech for garlic. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little freaked out by it, right? And he goes, he goes, "No, come on, try." Well, he's speaking Czech. He didn't speak English. Scoos means try. And he wanted me to hold out my hand, and he poured the worms in my hand. I was like, "Oh!" I said, "Just don't look. Just don't look." And my spouse, she was standing with the baby next to me, and she was just like covering her mouth, going like this. And he's like pouring them in my hand. I was like, "Okay, now I gotta eat it because you pour it in my hand, right?" I was like, "Okay, just don't look, just don't think about it being word, think about anything else, and just throw it in your mouth." I went, "This is." I've had worse chips than that. Like, I've literally had worse potato chips than these worms, so I bought them. And I bought some grasshoppers. He had some grasshoppers. So I bought these. I didn't try these yet. So when my dad comes here, I'm gonna try to make him try both of these. See, he might say fuck it. He may say I'm not trying that. But I'm gonna see if I can get him to try one of these. All the time it's because she does. She will. And here's the thing. Here's how I know she does it, right? Because she'll start to use a word that she never uses. You know what I mean? But I know I've said it, in a live stream. I'm like, "You was watching my live stream, weren't you?" Because you never say the word, whatever, right? And she goes, "No, I didn't watch it." "Yeah, I watched it." That's how I can always tell when she watches them. Because as English is like her third language, you know what I mean? Like, she has a certain selection of words that she always goes back to, right? So, and she'll start to use another word that she never uses, normally with me. And I think back, like, no, I was saying that on YouTube, like, a couple days ago or last week or something. But so that's how I know when she's watching, or what she has watched. But I'm gonna get out of here, man. It's 9:42. Oh no, how I know she's watching? Because she just wrote me. She wrote me 3 minutes ago. What's it say? "I have not went on sushi with you because it was fancy. I went because I liked you and I did want to give it a chance. So you lied in your live stream. I seriously would love to say my part. By the way, your page randomly put it out. Have a good evening, bruh." That's what she's watching. Yeah, there she goes. Yeah, she just wrote me. Yeah, that's life. As they say in Czech, to je život. I'm gonna get out of here because I'm gonna get ready to set this headset up. But yeah, if anybody else got anything to say, I'm gonna stay out here for like 2 more minutes. Only worms and dirt I know is to eat gummy worms with crushed Oreos and frozen yogurt. Yeah, man. No, yeah, these are real worms. But they're not soft. They're like dried and like they're dried. They're not like, they're not soft. They're like dried and seasoned. So they're more like crackers for real. It's just weird to, think of it as worms. But I still say this, out of all the weird food, I think chicken hearts is one of those things that and I think because she cooked some, was it, I think, duck hearts for me one time. And is it like heart meat, out of all the weird meats that I've tried, hearts I think is one meat that is severely underrated. And it really tastes better. It's really like some of the best tasting meat. It's far more flavorful. Now, when it comes to things like chitlins were just no. Chitlins smell great and they taste great initially, but it doesn't end well. I think chitlins are overrated. Some people love them. I think they're overrated, but I think hearts are by far more flavor. Once you eat a heart, you can't eat a hot dog. Like hot dogs are like just solidified gel with like meat seasoning. It doesn't even taste great. And I tell her that. I say, like, if I can get her to eat chicken hearts, she would never eat a hot dog ever again. Unless it's just there and she was hungry. But yeah. I still think chicken hearts is the one thing is that it's severely, massively, criminally underrated as a meat. I think it's severely underrated. Who ate chicken gizzards? Probably. I wouldn't be surprised. I got chicken liver. And I think duck liver in the freezer now. And I got cow, chicken, and duck liver in the freezer. Cause like I told my dad, and I told her, I said, the nutrition that you get from liver is so wild that like you get, and then for how much it costs on top of that, like the nutrition that you get, even in the worst livers, is so unbelievably great that like you gotta make that shit work, dude. Like the amount of vitamin A you get for $2, you gotta make that work. That's just a deal that's too good to be true. When you look at let's look at the nutrition data right now because this is important. Nutrition data on I think cow liver is the best one, but liver is so cheap and it's so nutritious. I said, no, fam, we gotta make this work. We have to make this work. Look at that. Can you see that? 870% of the daily recommended values. Can you see that? It's probably too small. 3,000% of vitamin B12. How much is it? Per 3-ounce serving. At that rate, dude, you have to make that work. You got to figure out a way to make liver work in your diet at that point. It's too nutritious. You know what I mean? You going to spend $15 on a bottle of vitamin A pills, or you spend $2 on liver that'll last you all month. And more probably. It depends on how much they're going to give you. So I said, no, bro, we got to do that. Got to do that. I said, no. One day I go to Europe and I buy you a beer. Word up, NRG. That's cool. Oh, what's up, Somni Rex? I'm just ready to get out of here, man. You just tuned in. I think you said you out there in Russia. Most organs are more nutritious than regular meat. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm the hearts and livers are my go-to. Um, yeah, and it's like the popularity. If a meat's popular, then it's gonna of course sell for a lot. It's gonna be expensive. But yeah, I love chicken hearts. I don't think I've had beef heart. I wanted to get a pig. Pig hearts are big, much bigger than I thought they'd be. And my spouse, she brought home some duck hearts one time, and um, um, and they were bigger. But when she cooked they shrunk up pretty drastically. But I still ate it. I ate as much as I think. I ate most of it, if I remember correctly, because she hasn't brought home any duck hearts in a long time. Carrots have vitamin A, so I stick to carrots. Yo, the liver's hard to eat. If you cook it, it is hard to eat. I tried every method to get the taste out. Eating, I find it impossible for somebody to just naturally like the taste of liver. That I think liver's like sushi. Like you have to work at that to be okay with it. You can't. I think there's very few people who would just sit down at a plate of cooked liver and be like, that's delicious. Like and never had it before in their life. I think sushi's the same way. Like there's very few people who sat down and the first time ever trying it, they was like, that's delicious. Like you got to work at that in some kind of way, whether you intentionally did or you unintentionally worked at it, previously in your life. It's one of those things where like that's an acquired taste. I can't do liver or hearts because it's good. Oh, word, that's cool, man. Chicken hearts, for me, well, the first time I had chicken hearts, the woman who had cooked it, they weren't burnt, but they were tougher. So if anything, they were more closer to jerky than like being like plump and soft. So I think that's what made it a whole lot easier because years later, I took a friend of mine out to this Brazilian steakhouse, and they had chicken hearts. And I was going on about like, yeah, you got to eat chicken hearts because they're delicious. And they cooked them and they put them on that long skewer. But I could tell by how it looked. It looked like it was just plump and that would have been hard to eat the first time. They weren't tough. And the one friend, her name was Danielle, but her name was Danny. We talked Danny into trying it. She was like, I think she swallowed it, but she couldn't eat another one. But to be fair, I wouldn't have wanted to eat it. If I had not have eaten chicken hearts before and I seen how they prepared it, I wouldn't have wanted to eat that as well, because they had cooked it into where it was literally like, they were still small because they were chicken hearts, probably like that big, but then you could look at it and tell it was like juice, like juicy. Like it was just way too juicy, and you just I wouldn't want to eat that. So my first time being exposed was what opened me up to it. Now liver is just hard to eat. The liver is just I'll make myself eat it because of the nutritional value. Cause let me see if she wrote me again. Cause she watched me when I eat it. I'll just get like a bowl of grapes and I'll cook it with scrambled eggs and I eat some eggs with liver and then I chase it with grapes, and that's how I eat it. I haven't done it in a while though, but liver's hard to eat for sure. It's not. Have you ever had macaroons from Paris? She just had brought me some macaroons from, I don't know if they were from Paris, but they were from France because we had the box. It was a pink box, and I told her I was severely disappointed in these macaroons. I ate them, but I was disappointed. I was severely disappointed. Lidl is still my favorite macaroons. I've tried every macaroon that I could try from every store that I've seen. And to this day, still, Lidl are my favorite. I think Cooler had a question. Any advice for a guy who was raised in a female household? Get around men. Get in men's clubs. Go hang out at shooting ranges. Just get around men. Get around men. That's the best I can tell you. Get around men and just watch and observe how the women in your household moved and how they treated people, and know when they and be able to acknowledge when they were being shitty and covering up with a smile, and just get around more men. Whether it's a shooting club, I don't know what the fuck. Just get around men. But yeah, I'm out of here, man. It's going on 10. I'll catch y'all later, man. Peace out.